Okay, it says that we are live, so hopefully that is correct and you can see us. Hi, everybody. Um, there should be comments on the YouTube. If you are doing this on the web, you'll be able to see that. I'll go ahead and give it a second because I had a weird thing where I was doing a test run that went live, and I'm afraid that some people might be on that one. So
No.
let's get them switched over to the real one. So if you're only seeing me, it's because you're on the bad one, the fake one. So go and hit the link that we were sharing all week, and hopefully you'll see the real one. No one is saying anything in the live chat, so I don't know. I'm assuming most people are watching this on like the YouTube app, so we're probably okay. But I do want to give it a few minutes just in case.
There's people going yay, yay, yay.
But let's introduce everybody. How about we do that?
Okay.
Okay. So first off, this is a script that Nick and I wrote a couple of years ago. Although this draft that we're reading today was something that we just wrapped up at the end of April, the very, very tail end of April. So it's been updated a little bit since then, but we wrote it, 2 years ago with the intention of making it or selling it. And then all of this happened, and we decided that it'd probably be best if we didn't do that. And now we're doing this live reading with all these wonderful people. So let's introduce our cast. First, we have as David, Zach Luna.
Hey, everyone. That's me. I'll be in this part of the screen.
Yeah. We have Naomi Wong, who is playing Ellie.
Hello.
Right up there in the corner.
That's me.
We have Nick Jimenez, my co-writer in this, is actually playing Benji.
Hello.
we have Kaci playing Camilla.
Hey.
There. And we have Chelsi playing Laurie and a couple of other characters, I think. And then we have Caleb Abbott, who is thankfully doing the job of playing like 6 different characters or something like that. All of the extras. So thanks so much for joining us, everybody. And I hope that you enjoy what we have here. I also want to give a special thanks to Brandon Warren and Scott Tofty, who wrote the original music that's going to be performed today. That was they kind of went above and beyond, and I really appreciate them for doing that.
Cool.
And Naomi for learning and performing the original music.
It was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
It's all right. Music's
good.
fun.
Good job. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see. Got it.
Maybe I'm just paranoid. On my screen, it shows that Chelsi's microphone is muted.
She might have.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, no problem.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear you. Okay.
All right, everybody. So let's get this thing
paranoid.
started. Hopefully everybody who is joining us is going to be here now. Okay, so this is a original romantic comedy called The Other Side of Solitary. And let's go ahead and kick it off.
Despite everything, the monster came back.
Interior, the house, night. A door rattles in its frame. A deep booming roar can be heard from outside. Something is out there, something big. A diverse ensemble of attractive young adult survivors step forward in profile, forming a perfectly posed line. They look out a large bay window in a dimly lit house. Their expressions are a mixture of fear and resolve.
The group decided then and there to leave the house, escape the monster, and start a new life together.
The group are packing up bags and supplies by the front door. They turn to someone off camera.
But not John. John wasn't leaving.
John stands watching, a gaunt and serious young man. His arms are crossed defiantly.
The house was safe. They had food, clean water, even electricity when they ran the generator. There was no reason for them to leave.
John is pleading with the group to no avail.
He begged them to stay with him, but they had already made up their minds.
The group leaves the house, shutting the door behind them. John closes his eyes and turns away from the door, afraid for his friends.
And then John was alone.
Suddenly, a second voice interrupts the voiceover.
David?
We're in David's office now, late afternoon. David Barnes, 30s, anxiety in Oxford, snaps out of his story, turning his focus back to the screen in front of him. He is sitting at his computer in a very neat, impeccably maintained office. He's on a video call with his editor, Camilla King, 40s, tired and losing her patience. Camilla sits in her office, her desk stacked with notes and manuscripts.
I know how the second book ends. I read the book. I edited the book. What are we talking about here?
Sorry, okay, just hearing the ending out loud like that, as a reader, what do you want out of a third book?
More than anything, I would want it to exist and be in my hands so I could show it to the publishers and continue having a job.
Right, but would you rather follow the rest of the kids or John by himself?
I don't. Why not both? Cut back and forth. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, make it epic. Kids love epic. I mean, not actually the word epic. I mean, I think kids actually kind of hate that now.
This was a mistake. It should have just been one book. Now there are expectations. People are expecting things.
I'm expecting things. Worry about me. Look, if you want it to be about just John by himself, awesome. Radical departure. The Martian meets Godzilla. We can sell that.
David rises, absent-mindedly straightening things around the room that do not look particularly out of place.
Is that a whole book?
Buddy, I got...
She picks up and drops several thick manuscripts on top of one another.
1, 2, 3 whole books right here, all of which you have written and we could publish.
You can't publish those. They're shit, and you know that.
Well, shit gets published every day. It still sells.
Or everyone will hate it because it's about John and no one will buy it.
But how would they know they hate it if they haven't already bought it?
I don't want to ruin my series, okay? I want to give my readers what they want, and this...
David pulls out his phone and starts looking something up.
No. David, I don't want to see the fan art again.
David holds his phone up to his computer to show Camilla.
This is what they want.
Fan art of the attractive ensemble of young adult survivors holding hands, being tender.
They want characters being together. They want romance. They don't want a book about a sad little bastard who's too afraid to go outside. But that's the only thing that feels honest to me.
When's the last time you went outside? You left the house.
I don't see how that's relevant.
You don't see how never leaving the house is relevant to this situation.
I'm paying for everything to be delivered so I don't have to leave. I want to focus on the book.
But you're not focusing on the book. You're focusing on your agoraphobia.
I don't have agoraphobia.
Have the online meetings been helping?
No.
Do you actually share during the meetings?
It's just more time not writing, Camilla.
David, it's been 4 years. Eventually, no one's even going to care about a third book. You're not even keeping up with your online presence. When's the last time that you tweeted something?
I will tweet something when I have something to share. I'm not just going to tweet just to tweet. I'm not one of those people.
At least it'd be content. The publishers think you died 6 months ago and I'm just covering it up poorly.
I'm sorry, Camilla. I'm sorry.
Look, on the bright side, you're rich, you're white, you're a guy, you're straight, as I understand it. So no matter what, you'll probably be fine.
I'm not rich.
Yeah, that's what rich people say. Get to work and try going outside.
The call ends. David sits back in his chair, letting out a long sigh. He opens a file on his computer labeled Monstrous 3. It's a blank file. The cursor blinks at him. He doesn't type anything. He just stares at the cursor like he's waiting for it to tell him what to do. He gives up, exiting the program and closing his laptop. He switches off the light on his way out the door. In David's foyer, we hold on the front door as David passes, continuing off screen. After a moment, he returns to look at the door, thinking, maybe Camilla's right. David unlocks the door and opens it. The golden light of the setting sun hits him as he takes a step forward. David inhales. He can do this, no big deal. He looks down at his feet, urging them to move past the door frame with his eyes. All he has to do is step forward. He closes his eyes, tenses up, lifts his foot, and he steps backward into the house, into safety, and closes the door like he's keeping out a dragon. Sweet relief. David fumbles as he locks the door, breathing heavily. He takes a moment to swallow an emotion. What was it? Fear? No. Disappointment. He walks away off camera. We pull back from the door, revealing more of the house. It's sparse and sterile. Title card, The Other Side of Solitary. Reflective, melancholy music score transitions us to a pool evening. Griffin, male 20s, and Bex, female 20s, two network hot 20-somethings, lay next to each other poolside.
You know, this might be our last night together.
Don't make this harder than it has to be, than it already is. Besides,
Bex looks up at the stars.
no matter where we are, we'll always be under the same stars.
Griffin and Bex look down from the stars and stare deeply into each other's eyes. Just as they lean in to share a kiss, the music score hits a bad note.
Oh, god damn it.
And now we're in Ellie's house, her bedroom, evening. Ellie enters, 29, eternally frazzled, looks away from her laptop screen where the scene between Griffin and Bex is now paused. Ellie sits cross-legged on her bed, a mattress on the floor, enveloped in layers of blankets. Her bedroom is dimly lit by a single bedside lamp, but it's enough to get the picture. The place is a disaster. Clutter and dirty laundry everywhere. No visible floor, precariously stacked dishes peppered about. In her lap is a musical keyboard hooked up to her laptop. A big cat, Ramona, has rested herself on the keys of Ellie's keyboard.
Ramona, I'm trying to create.
Ramona's eyes narrow. She couldn't care less. Ellie rubs her eyes. She's been at this all day. At wit's end, Ellie shoos Ramona and returns to the scene between Griffin and Bex. Instead of the sad indie vibe she was going for earlier, Ellie now scores the scene with creepy horror movie music. Ellie glances at Ramona.
You think this is what they were going for? Wait, what about this?
Ellie switches to a jaunty Western saloon sound, playing over Bex crying into Griffin's arms.
Oh, she's sad 'cause she's going to Paris. 'Cause there ain't no dickin' in Paris. Since the day we were born, everybody's been told that there ain't no dickin' in Paris.
She slams down all the keys at once.
And Oscar.
A cell phone chimes from where it sits at the end of her mattress. Ellie stretches out her leg to grab it with her toes. It's a bit harder to do than she was expecting, but she manages to pinch it, craning the phone into her waiting hand. Ramona meows at Ellie.
1 second.
She sits up against a wall and checks the notification. Her face drops. From Hope Credit Union, your account is overdrawn. Please deposit funds to avoid further fees.
What? No. I didn't even spend any money today.
She begins furiously scrolling through her bank history, but groans as she sees the responsible transaction.
Oh, it's not even the 15th yet.
In a huff, Ellie throws the phone into her mattress, unable to even stand the sight of it now. She turns and looks at her college diploma, framed and sitting on a stack of books. Ellie gives it her middle finger. Her cell phone rings. She whines a bit and crawls over to pick it up. She checks the caller ID and answers with a sigh.
Hey, Mom.
Laurie, early 50s, just wants to help, is on the other line.
Ellie, everything all right? You sound tired. Are you sleeping?
Ellie pinches the bridge of her nose.
Yeah, what? Yeah, I was working.
Well, I know how much we both love doing this, but I just got a text about your account being overdrawn, and
Ellie drops onto her mattress, staring at the ceiling.
The student loan people didn't wait until the 15th to pull my payment like they're supposed to.
You know you can ask me for help, Ellie.
I have a check on the way from that corporate gig I took. Would have been enough. It's not my fault their system messed up or whatever.
Well, next time you think you're going to overdraw, tell me and I'll put more money in your account.
I'm not just gonna ask you for money. I'm an adult, okay? As reality altering as that sounds.
If you're an adult, you should get an adult job.
Ellie rolls her eyes. Not this again.
I have a job, Mom.
She gets off her bed and leaves the bedroom. Ramona follows. Ellie walks through her house. It's as cluttered and disorganized as her bedroom, but Ellie is comfortable in the mess. So is Ramona, who races ahead to their destination.
Ellie, you're scoring a movie for people you met on the internet.
People meet on the internet, Mom. It's not quirky anymore.
And they haven't paid you yet. My neighbor Julie says there's an opening at her company. It's an entry-level position. You could start a career.
I don't want to be cooped up in an office all day.
Oh, but you're fine being cooped up in that house forever?
You know, I read this story online about how the American work commute is literally killing us. And the planet. I'm saving the planet.
Are you coming to the meeting on Monday?
Do I have a choice?
Ramona coos and paces near her food bowl as Ellie enters her kitchen.
You always have a choice.
Ellie opens a mostly empty cabinet.
I get to keep staying in the old house rent-free if I didn't go?
Silence from Laurie. Ellie grabs a can of cat food.
That's what I thought.
It's supposed to help you. It's not a punishment, it's an arrangement.
It's an emotional firing squad.
She pulls the tab on the can. Ramona uses the counter to pull herself onto her hind legs, trying to see her food.
Don't be so dramatic. If you were connecting with people on your own, I wouldn't be so worried.
Ellie shakes the can of food into Ramona's bowl. Ramona starts eating immediately.
I talk to people.
The cat is not people.
Ellie leans back against the counter, watching Ramona eat.
We need other people, Ellie. It's what makes life interesting.
I think my life is interesting enough.
She tosses the empty can onto an overflowing trash bin. David's bedroom, morning. David sleeps on his back in a bed that has remained impeccably made overnight. At 7 a.m., a digital alarm clock goes off on his bedside table. David snaps awake. Tapping off the alarm, he puts on his glasses and gets out of bed. Montage. David's impeccably scheduled daily routine. A toilet handle is pressed. Worn clothes are tossed into separate laundry baskets for whites, brights, and colors. A shower head sputters on. David is in the shower. The bathroom is immaculate, organized, sterile. Wearing a robe, David brushes his teeth. He spits into the sink as a digital timer on the counter goes off. Floss, mouthwash, hair meticulously combed. A medicine cabinet opens. David takes a pill bottle, opens it, and swallows a single pill with water. A light turns on in a walk-in closet. An outfit is chosen. Slacks, collared shirt, tie, sweater, socks, shoes, all items methodically organized by color and type. Fully dressed, David enters his kitchen, opens the cabinets, makes toast, brews coffee, eats toast, drinks coffee. 8 a.m., coffee mug in hand, David enters his office, sits at his desk, typing on a keyboard, clicking on the mouse. David shifts colored index cards on a corkboard. Late morning, Ellie's bedroom. Ramona scampers onto Ellie's sleeping body, pawing at her face. Ellie groans. Inner cut montage. Ellie's erratic daily routine. Ramona gets fed. Ellie scrolls on her phone while eating cereal. On David, 12 p.m. The doorbell rings. David turns toward it. The door opens. A mailman gives David his mail. David smiles and nods, says some friendly words. The door shuts. David organizes the mail into piles labeled respond and trash. David makes lunch, eats a sandwich. David does more work, takes a phone call. On Ellie, she orders groceries, checks her bank account, then orders less groceries. On David, 4 p.m., doorbell. The door opens. A young delivery guy, Steven, hands David a paper bag of groceries. David gives a friendly nod, talks for a few seconds. The door shuts. David makes dinner, prepares chicken, veggies. On Ellie, knock on door. Groceries left on the stoop. She takes them to the kitchen, grabs what she wants from the bag, leaves the rest without putting them away. On David, 6 p.m. David sits to eat dinner. He cuts his food into small bites, sets his silverware down while he chews. On Ellie, reading a young adult paperback, smells herself, recoils. Shower time. Pill bottle on counter. Ellie swallows a pill and drinks water from the faucet on her sink. On David, 10 p.m. David sits on his couch watching television. He checks his watch. It's getting late. Dirty laundry is dropped into their respective hampers. 11 p.m. David is sitting up in bed, pajamas on, reading a book. He places a bookmark and closes the book. The bedside lamp clicks off. On Ellie, up late, dancing with Ramona, who isn't super into it. She reads a book, scrolls on her laptop, falls asleep around 3 a.m. Montage. Everything repeats, but faster. On David, laundry, shower, teeth brushed, outfit selection. On Ellie, sleeping, switching positions. On David, stairs, breakfast, work, mail, lunch, work. On Ellie, finally wakes up, feeds Ramona, feeds herself, scrolling, watching TV. On David, groceries, dinner, television, laundry. On Ellie, smells herself, shrugs, no shower today, plays music, dances a little. On David, book, light, and repeat and repeat and repeat. On Ellie, groceries, scrolling, reading, falling asleep, intercut, mixing between David and Ellie through outfits, meals, days, weeks. Nothing changes until on David, the clock hits 4 p.m. David turns and nothing. No doorbell. He gets up to investigate. The front door opens to an empty stoop. No car in the driveway either. David hesitates before shutting the door. Where is he? Minutes later, David sits at his desk, anxiously shifting in his chair. The work begs for his attention, but he's not focused. He exhales sharply, looks at his laptop clock. 4:16 p.m.
You kidding me?
David stands and paces around in a bit of a fuss. He hears the sound of a car pulling into his driveway.
Finally.
He rushes out of the room. David swings open the front door. Benji Elizondo, 28, trying his best, makes his way up the walkway. He raises the 2 bags of groceries he's holding when he sees David.
Yo, got your groceries here.
The sight of Benji is strange and frightening to David.
Who are you?
Benji stops on the stoop in front of David, a bit confused, but still grinning.
I'm Benji, your delivery guy.
Where's Steven?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think he quit.
David's anxiety kicks into overdrive.
He quit, but I mean, he didn't call or email or anything.
Was he supposed to? Okay, these are kind of heavy, so.
Benji walks past David to enter the house. David is so stunned that it takes a beat to react.
Wait, hey, you can't just.
Benji enters David's kitchen, carelessly dropping the bags on the counter.
Whoa, nice kitchen. You ever see it's complicated? This is nicer than that kitchen, and Meryl Streep lived there. Oh, maybe not nicer. Cleaner, though. Definitely cleaner.
David scrambles into the kitchen as Benji starts pulling groceries out of the bags to put away.
I can do that. You don't need to do that. I can do that.
David snaps the items away from Benji like a bird trying to keep his nest together. Benji is confused and a little offended. David notices the look on his face.
Sorry. I need things to be a certain way. It's nothing personal.
Benji takes a second to study David.
No worries, man. I'll leave you to it.
Benji turns to leave. Relief floods David's face. David rushes ahead of Benji, grabbing for the front door, trying to somehow play the polite host now. Benji hands David a business card.
That's my personal number. You just hit me up if you need anything.
David takes the card without looking at it, forces a smile.
Got it. Have a great day. I will definitely call you.
Insert. Benji's business card drops into a trash bin. Later, David is pacing about his living room, a cordless phone held between his ear and shoulder. He stops pacing when someone answers.
Yes. Hi, this is David Barnes. I'd like to change my delivery person. Well, I was actually hoping I could go back to seeing Steven. I'd really gotten used to.
David sits on his couch and leans back, concentrating on what's being said on the other line.
Really? Harvard? Huh. Full ride scholarship. Wow, that's impressive. Yeah. Do you think you'd be willing to reconsider?
Ellie has fallen asleep on the couch later that evening as Ramona saunters over and begins pacing beneath her, purring loudly. A meow stirs Ellie awake.
No, sleep happens now.
She rolls away from Ramona, who jumps on the couch and walks up Ellie's body until they're face to face. Ellie opens her eyes.
Oh, hey. Can I help you?
Ramona nuzzles Ellie's face. Ellie gives in and nuzzles back. Later, Ellie sits on her kitchen counter reading the paperback from earlier and eating microwave mac and cheese. Her phone gets a notification. It takes some effort for her to look away from the phone and look away from the book and glances at the phone. She groans, eyes closed in dread. Text message from Mom.
Waiting on you, kiddo.
At the same time, David gets an alert on his computer, a reminder about the online support group that Camilla was talking about. He lets out a resigned sigh. Ellie sits at her desk, arms crossed, teeth clenched. She swallows, eyes locked on her laptop screen. Agoraphobics Anonymous meeting, moderated by Laurie Enders. Click to join call. She reaches out to click the button, but starts to panic a bit and snaps her hand back. She closes her eyes, attempting to control her breathing and stop from hyperventilating. Squeezing her eyes tight, Ellie quickly taps the button. The screen reloads into a video chat room with several people, including Laurie and David. Ellie scrunches down in her chair, attempting to hide herself, however slightly, from the webcam without making it obvious. Andrew, early 50s, is in the middle of sharing.
Which got me thinking about the table I was eating at, and then the chair and the floor and the people around me, and I just started to panic. I rushed home. I haven't left in 3 days. I feel like a failure.
Instead of listening, David has been rearranging and fidgeting with the stuff on top of his desk.
It can be easy to feel defeated when you slip back into old habits, Andrew. But you have to remember that this isn't a get points, lose points system. Taking one step back does not undo the steps forward you've taken.
Ellie has been on her phone this whole time. Laurie notices.
Ellie, would you like to share anything today?
Ellie snaps to attention at her name. She shakes her head quickly in response. Laurie was hopeful, but expected as much.
Okay. Anyone else? David, how have things been for you this week?
Oh, no, thank you.
Ellie exhales sharply.
Right.
The meeting continues with Ellie scrolling through her phone and playing with Ramona and doodling on some bills that are nearby. She never speaks or responds to anything. She might as well not even be there. Laurie begins to wrap things up. Relief floods Ellie's face.
Well, good work this week, everyone. Keep choosing to take steps forward and try not to be so hard on yourself if you slip up. I'll see you all next.
Ellie has already logged out. She closes her laptop and leans back, raising both of her arms in victory. It is over.
Freedom!
Ellie is smiling wide when she gets a notification. It fades when she reads what it says. Text from Mom.
Wish you had made more of an effort.
Ellie frowns and responds. Text from Ellie.
Sorry. I'll try harder next time.
She sets her phone aside, her elation cut short by her mother's disappointment. That night, David is in bed trying to read, but he's having trouble concentrating. He finally gives up, putting the book away in the bedside table drawer and turning out the lamp. He rolls onto his back and closes his eyes, settling in for sleep. After a long beat, David sighs and opens his eyes. He looks at his alarm clock, 11:07 p.m. He resituates himself, trying to get more comfortable as his eyes close again. Nope, not working. David's eyes snap open and shift toward the alarm clock again. 2:42 a.m. Oh, come on. David rolls his eyes and his head back and stares at the ceiling. Desperate, frustrated, anxious, he keeps staring. David is still staring when his alarm goes off at 7 a.m. He lets out an extended groan as he turns off the alarm and slowly gets out of bed. Montage. David's exhausted morning routine remix. Same shit, more tired. David slowly shuffles inside his office, holding his ritualistic mug of coffee with both hands like it's the only thing giving him life, because it is. He sits at his desk and wakes up his laptop, clicks on the Monsters 3 file. Positioning himself to write, David knocks his mug over, spilling coffee everywhere.
Shit. Oh.
David bolts out of his chair, snatching the laptop off his desk. It seems okay. He puts the laptop on his chair before turning his attention to the spill. Insert. David gathers cleaning supplies. David makes quick work of the spill, but realizes that the spot is now much cleaner than the surrounding area. So he continues to clean the rest of the floor, then the rest of the room altogether. Soon, David is also cleaning the living room, polishing and sweeping every little speck and piece. David looks around at the immaculate living room, satisfied, but he wants more. Insert. Spray and wipe on a countertop. David stands up straight and surveys his work in the kitchen. Montage. Images of other rooms, completely spotless. He really did it. He cleaned the whole goddamn house. But wait, out of the corner of David's eye, he sees it. One spot on the kitchen floor. Dirt? Food? David reaches for his cleaning spray, lowers it at the spot on the floor, and squeezes the trigger. The bottle fizzes and squirts air. Empty. David tenses up, then turns and sees his cleaning supplies, all empty, all used. His eyes widen as the severity of the situation closes in. Insert. Garbage bin opens, revealing Benji's business card. Later, the front door opens before Benji even hits the stoop.
You're late.
Hi. Sorry. Checkout lines are kind of crazy. You doing some spring cleaning?
September.
What?
It's not spring.
That's what that means? I always thought it was spring cleaning, like you spring into it, really get it done. Yeah, every day you learn something.
David is completely baffled by this guy.
Oh, hey, there's more bags in the trunk. You mind helping me?
Sudden dread washes over David as he looks past Benji at the bags of groceries sticking out of Benji's open trunk. They're only about 30 feet away, but to David, the space between them is infinite.
Out there?
David swallows, staring at the trunk. Benji's eyes narrow.
Yeah. You're not used to lifting stuff?
David can't hear him. He just stares, hands shaking.
Here, no big deal. I got it.
Benji hands the bags to David and goes back to his car to grab the others. David sets the bags down inside, relieved. Benji returns with the other bags, handing them off.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'll see you tomorrow.
David shuts the door. Benji sighs, walking back to his car.
Rich folks, man.
Ellie is watching TV in her living room later when there is a sudden series of rhythmic knocks on her front door. Ellie opens the front door to grab her groceries off the stoop like usual, but finds Benji holding them instead.
Yo, got the stuff you ordered?
Eyes wide and completely disoriented, Ellie immediately shuts the door in his face.
Wow. Okay.
Ellie lands on the wall next to the front door, back pinned against it in fear like the final girl in a horror movie. Benji knocks again.
Miss Enders, is this the right house? Sure.
Ellie pinches her face into a wince. He's not going away.
Just leave it at the door, please.
I don't think I can do that. It's like a health code thing.
You have my permission. Just leave it there. Always. Thank you.
Okay.
Ellie remembers something. She curses under her breath.
Wait. You have to check my mail.
What?
Sorry. The other guy would check my mail, leave it in the bag with the groceries. Please?
On the other side of the door, Benji sighs.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you. Goodbye.
Ellie stays pinned to the wall as she listens for Benji to follow her directions and leave. When his car drives away, Ellie finally exhales. She opens the door a crack. The coast is clear. She quickly snatches up the groceries and retreats back inside like a meerkat into its tunnel. Slamming the door shut, Ellie collapses against it, relieved. She did it. She survived. Later, in the kitchen, Ellie tosses some cup noodle into the microwave. While waiting, she flips through her mail. Bill, toss. Another bill, toss. A paycheck.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Ellie strikes a little victory pose before ripping open the envelope and pulling out the check, but her heart sinks. The check is only for $131.
No, that cannot be right. This is a mistake. Shit.
She runs out of the room in a panic. Moments later, Ellie's at her dining room table writing an email on her laptop about what has to be some kind of pay discrepancy. Even later, Ellie is watching a documentary when an email finally comes through. She instantly opens it. What she reads puts a chill down her spine. Pay discrepancies can only be dealt with by phone. Please call our payroll office at your earliest convenience. Horrified, Ellie's eyes shift to her phone on the coffee table. It looks sinister. She swallows hard, gathering her courage. She can do this. She has to do this. Hands shaking, Ellie slowly reaches out and picks up the phone. She barely holds back a panic attack as she dials.
You can do this. Just breathe.
Pulling together her nerves, she puts the phone to her ear as it starts to ring. Peter, 30s, work voice, enters.
Payroll, this is Peter.
Ellie reflexively hangs up.
Damn it.
After flailing in frustration a bit, she gathers herself to try again and stands up.
Okay, no. It's just a person. They don't even know you.
She dials, it rings, he answers.
Payroll, this is Peter.
Ellie starts to speak, but nothing comes out.
Hello.
Ellie manages a squeak.
Is someone there?
Ellie sucks in a deep breath and exclaims a cluster of words.
I got a paycheck. I think it's wrong.
She grimaces at her sudden outburst.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Were those words?
And she hangs up again, collapsing into her couch and burying her face in her hands. After a moment, Ellie looks at the check again, resigned to her fate. She deposits the check with her phone. Text from bank. Checking account deposit confirmed, $131. The deed finished, she lays back against the couch and sighs. Ramona joins her, and Ellie gives her some attention.
What are we gonna do, Remy?
Ramona meows at Ellie.
Yes. You should absolutely start looking for a job.
As she pets Ramona, Ellie smiles, holding back tears. That afternoon, David is sitting at his dining room table, half-eaten dinner in front of him when he gets a video call on his phone. David is genuinely surprised at who is calling as he answers. David's agent, Hallie Price, 30s, slick and successful, is driving her 2020 Tesla Model X down a freeway. She speaks without making eye contact.
Davey, baby, how's it going in Writerland?
Fine.
It's Hallie, your agent.
Yeah, I remember. I'm just surprised to hear from you.
I guess it's been a minute, huh? Well, hey, do me a favor. Check if you're sitting down, because I've got some news, and you really need to be sitting down when you hear this shit.
David actually checks that he's sitting down. He is.
Yeah, I'm sitting. Hallie, what's all this about?
Well, then get ready to fall out of your goddamn chair, because Miguel Alejandro Lopez wants to direct a monstrous movie.
The guy who won the Oscar last year.
2 Oscars, you simple bitch. And now he's in the franchise game, baby. Big money, woo, yeah.
David leans back, a dopey grin spreading across his face.
Wow, a monstrous movie. That's amazing.
Bioluminescence is amazing, David. This is life-changing. Now, all you gotta do is finish that old 3rd Bookaruno, so...
David's smile drops.
What?
Well, the studio wants Miguel to direct the whole trilogy, but he'll only sign on if there's a 3rd book to read, so...
Can't I finish the new book while they're making the movie?
Yeah, that's a no-go, Davy baby. It's sort of a deal or no deal type of deal, if you feel me.
David deflates.
Well, I hope they don't mind waiting.
Well, here's the thing about that, D-Day. Miguel's got a few irons in the fire, and if this doesn't go soon, he's gonna bail and direct something else. So this whole deal is kind of predicted on a bit of a timetable.
What kind of timetable?
And Miguel needs book 3 by January.
David's eyes widen into saucers. Insert wine pouring into a glass. Later, David sets down his glass of wine and sits at his desk. He stares at his laptop, exhales.
You can do this. You're a writer. This is why you're alive.
He takes a sip of wine. For courage?
And go.
And he starts typing and typing and typing. There's a knock on the door, but David doesn't seem to notice. Another knock. It's Benji. He looks in through the window.
Joe, I'm here. Hello? David. Hey, I've got another order, so I'm just going to leave the bag out here. Don't be mad, okay? See ya.
Benji sets the bag down and leaves. David writes page after page, keyboard alive with the light tapping of his fingers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's happening. Oh, yeah.
Eventually, David finishes with a dramatic flourish.
Boom, baby.
He does a little victory spin in his chair. He clicks print on his computer, and the printer kicks on. As his fresh pages begin to print, David excitedly gathers them with a giant smile on his face. Finally, progress. David begins reading through the pages in his hand, his eyes darting back and forth, but with each page flip, his smile begins to fade more and more until his face drops completely. The pages suck. Insert. The pages are dropped into a trash bin.
Sorry, trees. Your deaths were meaningless.
David collapses into his desk chair.
I can't keep doing this.
He gets an alert. Time for group. Ugh. Meanwhile, Ellie sits on her couch, laptop open in front of her. She scrolls past emails, rejecting her music. Her phone dings. Text from mom.
See you in a few minutes.
Ellie lets out a deflated exhale groan. Across the house, Ramona meows.
Your food is coming, you monster.
Another distant meow.
I'm sorry. You're not a monster.
The doorbell rings. Ellie tenses. Benji speaks through the door as he sets the bags down.
Dropping off. Have a good one.
Ellie listens for Benji to walk away before getting up. Moments later, Ellie sets the bags down on the counter.
All right, fat lady. Food's here.
She starts digging through the bag of groceries, but isn't finding what she's looking for. Her body freezes in horror.
Oh, no.
There isn't any cat food. From outside, Ellie can hear the engine of Benji's car start. Ellie whips her head back to Ramona. Ellie churns with internal struggle, but the saucer eyes of her cat become too much to bear. She squeezes her eyes shut, pleading for inner strength. Moments later, Ellie swings open her front door just as Benji's car starts to back out of the driveway. She waves her arms, trying to get his attention.
Wait, stop.
Benji sees Ellie, slams on his brakes, and gets out of his car.
Oh my God, what?
I forgot cat food.
Ramona wanders between Ellie's legs.
She hasn't eaten.
Benji sees Ramona and sighs. He can't resist a cat.
What's her name?
Ramona.
Benji nods, determined.
Give me like 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Benji gets back into his car and closes the door. Ellie watches as he backs out and drives away. Ramona meows inquisitively.
He'll be right back.
Meanwhile, David is at his computer and arrives at a familiar screen. Agoraphobic's Anonymous meeting, moderated by Laurie Enders. Click to join call. David takes a long, deep breath.
Really don't need this today.
He clicks the button to join. At the same time, Ellie sits in front of her computer, staring at the join call screen. She frowns. There is no part of her that wants anything to do with this right now. Ramona rubs against Ellie's legs pleadingly.
I'm sorry, Rami. You'll get food soon, I promise.
Ellie takes a second to get her shit together, then clicks the button to join the call. On the screen, the group video loads. Laurie is kicking off the meeting.
All right, let's get started. We're actually going to be trying something a little different today. I want everyone to split into pairs and share one-on-one. More of a conversation and less of a show and tell. Is everyone okay with that?
On Ellie, she is definitely not okay with that, but she can't get the words out to protest in time.
Great. I'll pair everyone up on my end and we'll meet back here in about 15 minutes.
Laurie ends the group video. Ellie is gritting her teeth, frozen in terror. On David, an invitation to a private chat pops up. He joins. On Ellie, the same invitation pops up. She grimaces, but clicks to join. David comes onto her screen.
Oh, hi.
Ellie attempts to smile through pursed lips, but gives a stiff wave instead.
You've been here longer than me. You've been here longer than me. Has this happened before?
Ellie shrugs.
No, this is definitely the first time.
Have you been doing this long, the group meetings?
About a year or so, I guess.
Do they get more helpful?
Ellie makes a face like she smells something rotten.
That bad, huh?
Mostly they just make my skin crawl.
Yeah, I kind of get that vibe too.
It's just, you spend the whole time listening to strangers overshare to other strangers, but they're not like actually sharing. They're just like throwing their shit at everyone.
Right, like they're competing to see who can be the most depressing.
Exactly. And I never have anything really sad or dramatic to share, so it just sounds like I really don't think anything's wrong with me or that I'm holding back. And then everyone's like, why are you holding back? And I'm not. But I start to think that maybe I am.
And then you just feel worse than before you went.
Ellie nods in agreement as she suddenly becomes self-conscious of how open she just was with a stranger.
I feel like best case scenario, it'd be like the Breakfast Club, like actual connection.
I actually kind of hate the Breakfast Club too.
What? It's the greatest high school movie ever made.
It's not even the best John Hughes movie ever made.
Molly Ringwald, Anthony Michael Hall, Ali Sheedy, all at the top of their game.
Ali Sheedy's whole arc in that movie is so depressing. She was both hotter and more interesting before the makeover. It's worse than Grease.
You hate Grease?
The whole point of that movie is you should change everything about yourself just so the guy will like you.
No, why does everyone forget that Danny tried being a jock for Sandy? Remember? He wore the leather jacket. He tried sports. The whole point of that movie is not confining yourself to one aspect of your personality. You can change. You can wear different clothes. It doesn't mean that you betrayed yourself.
So you don't think it's depressing when Sandy completely changes herself to make Danny happy?
I don't think that she completely changed. She learned that being comfortable with different parts of yourself can be fun and sexy. Maybe she was repressing those parts of herself before. Why does wearing leather jackets and lipstick automatically mean you're suddenly a bimbo or whatever?
So did you have a similar experience when you wore lipstick and black leather to the local carnival?
I did, and I felt super judged by all my friends. It wasn't cool. I'm not a bimbo.
Ellie laughs. David smiles.
I'm David, by the way.
Ellie. We're being very rebellious sharing names, by the way. It's supposed to be anonymous.
I'm born rebel. That's why I dress like this, even though I never leave the house.
On Ellie, there's a knock at the door.
Oh, that's for my cat.
Your cat get a lot of visitors?
Ellie gets up and opens the door. Benji hands her a grocery bag full of cans.
Okay, we didn't go over what kind of food she normally eats, so I brought options. We got wet, we got dry, we got this, organic, grain-free stuff.
On David, he has a clear shot of Benji standing in Ellie's door. He leans in closer to make sure he's seeing this right.
Benji?
Benji hears David's voice and looks past Ellie, spotting David's face on Ellie's laptop.
Dave?
The two men make very confused eye contact. Ellie looks over her shoulder at David, then back at Benji.
What is happening?
That's my delivery guy.
Why do you want a computer?
Why are you at our house?
Ellie can't process this right now.
I need to feed my cat. Rami!
She heads to the kitchen. Benji and David stare at each other and stay put.
Rami girl, your food's here.
Ellie walks out of the kitchen looking for her cat.
Ramona, you remember food, right? And it's literally your favorite thing.
Nothing.
Where the hell is...
Ellie turns and freezes. The front door, it's still open. Benji reacts to Ellie's hard stare and then realizes what it means. The cat got out. He starts freaking out immediately.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. Okay, keep checking the house. I'll go look for her outside.
They split up. Ellie heads upstairs while Benji starts looking through the bushes near the front door.
Rami, here, pretty girl.
Ramona the cat.
On David, he cranes his head around, scanning the screen, looking for any sign of Ramona, but there's nothing. David leans back in his chair. With Benji out of the way, David has a clear shot of the house across the street through the open front door. He recognizes it.
Is that my house?
Before he can manage to wrap his head around that, David suddenly hears a strange rustling sound. David follows the sound to his front door and opens it. A cat is rummaging through the groceries on David's front stoop. The cat looks up at David. It's Ramona.
Huh.
David carefully picks up Ramona from the ground. He looks across the street and sees that the house on the other side has its front door open. Benji panic wanders through the middle of the street, calling for Ramona.
Huh.
Still holding Ramona, David walks back to his computer and sits down. Ellie passes by the camera, nearly hysterical.
Ramona, please come out.
Seeing Ellie on the screen, Ramona meows. Ellie hears Ramona and stops dead.
Hey, Ellie?
Shh, I can hear her. Ramona?
Ramona meows again.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Ellie turns back and sees David on her screen holding Ramona. Stunned, she slowly walks toward the computer.
Wait. No? What? How?
Benji left some groceries at my door, and I guess she was hungry.
But she... How did she...
Benji bursts into Ellie's house. He is distraught.
I'm so sorry. I looked everywhere. I even checked the other yards. The guy next door was not happy about it, but I did it.
Benji?
No, listen to me. This is not over. I will search every inch of this goddamn street. I will look under every car. I will fight every dog.
Benji.
I will find her. So help me God. I will find this cat.
Benji, I have the cat.
Benji sees David with Ramona. He is instantly relieved.
Oh, thank God. Where was she?
David is petting. Go ahead.
She was going to town on the groceries you left on the stoop.
Benji chuckles to himself.
Faded by my own switch. Classic Benji.
But how is she there with David?
What do you mean? He lives right across the street.
Ellie tries to process this.
What?
Benji points out of Ellie's open doorway. Ellie looks through it at the house across the street. She can see David through the window in his office. He gives an awkward little wave. Ellie blinks, completely baffled. Suddenly, Laurie pops in on the video call.
Hey guys, we're meeting back up with the group now.
No one says anything. No one can. Laurie looks around her screen and notices Benji.
Who are you?
Benji isn't sure what to do.
I'm gonna go get your cat.
He leaves Ellie's house, making his way towards David's place. Laurie notices the cat David is holding.
That looks just like Ramona.
The next day, Benji and David are in David's kitchen. Benji passes David fresh groceries as David puts them away in his usual methodical way.
I just can't get over the sheer the coincidence of it all, the sheer odds of any of this happening.
I know, right? We don't have to drink any of the water around here.
Did you know she was, like me?
I mean, I didn't even know what she looked like until yesterday because she never opened the door. Is the cat okay? Did she like the food? I brought options.
I haven't asked. Maybe I should shoot her a text and check.
Benji stops handing David groceries.
You got her number?
I did, yeah. In case anything like that happens again.
Benji grins cheekily.
What? What is that for?
No, nothing. It's just you're obviously meant for each other. That's all.
Okay, that's a stretch.
Oh, are you meeting a lot of people lately in the house that you never leave?
I have to focus on writing my book. I don't have time for anything else.
I didn't know you were a writer.
Later, in David's office, David sits in his office chair, head tilted back, spinning in a circle in the middle of an extended guttural wail.
I'm not a writer. I'm the empty, shriveled husk of a writer. I have no purpose, and my existence is just a brief ripple of chaos across an endless, uncaring void.
He suddenly leaps from his chair and paces about, grabbing at his hair in frustration. He's laughing, losing it. As he passes his window, his eyes fall on Ellie's house. He stops, allowing himself to stare. A thought crosses his mind. David reaches into his back pocket and pulls out his phone. He looks down at the device in his hand, pondering. As if fearful of being caught, David's eyes whip back over to his computer, the screen still an empty white. He glances back at the window, then his phone again. Meanwhile, Ellie is on her bed, fiddling with an acoustic guitar. David's text comes in. Ellie grabs her phone to read it. Text from David.
How's Ramona?
Ellie turns to her cat, who is taking a nap nearby.
Wants to know how you are.
Ramona yawns in response.
Okay, I'll tell him.
Ellie tries to think of something clever to text back, but keeps deleting what she types. David watches his phone. The 3 dots indicate that Ellie is typing. Ellie's not having any luck coming up with a response, and the pressure is stressing her out, feeding her anxiety. She gives up, dropping the phone on her bed. On David, the indicator dots disappear. No text message. He frowns.
It seemed like you two were hitting it off.
Later, Ellie is hanging off her couch on the phone with her mother.
We barely talked before Rami got out. I don't know if I call that hitting it off.
I'm sure it was more than either of you talk in group. I wouldn't be so adamant about you going to meetings if I knew you were actually talking to someone on a regular basis.
A bomb goes off in Ellie's head. She sits up.
So wait, are you saying that if I talk to this guy, I won't have to go to group anymore?
Moments later, David's phone gets a text message. David picks up the phone from his desk and reads, text from Ellie.
Hey, are you free to talk?
I've never had a pet.
Later, Ellie sits on the floor, back against the couch, laptop on the coffee table. Ramona sleeps just over her shoulder. She's in a video call with David.
Seriously? I've always had cats. Ramona's been with me since I graduated high school.
David sits at his desk, leaning back in his chair.
I had a fish once for like a week when I was 9. Adam Fishman. I used to get really sad watching him swim around in that tiny little bowl. I thought he deserved a better life. So I flushed him down the toilet, to freedom.
Wow.
I'm sure he's fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's probably doing great. You should call him.
I don't know. He's probably got a family now. I don't want to bother him.
Ellie smiles.
Do you have a job?
David blinks. Ellie winces.
Sorry, that sounded really judgmental.
No, it's fine. I guess I'm a writer, technically.
A writer? Technically?
Still feels weird saying it.
I make music. Technically.
Oh yeah? Like in a band? Solo artist?
Ellie forces the words out.
Not really. Mostly instrumentals type stuff for like corporate training videos or random gigs like that. I'm actually sort of scoring this movie right now, or trying to.
That is so cool. What's the...
So what are you? technically right.
Oh, I had a couple books published, part of a trilogy. I'm writing the third one right now. Well, trying anyway. It's been kind of a thing.
You wrote a book? Like a whole entire book, and you did it twice?
Yeah, but it's not like the next great American novel or anything. It's just a young adult series.
Dude, I read YA like exclusively. What are they about?
These teenagers are left behind in Chicago after a giant monster attack, and they have to face the world and survive without any adults to help them. It's called Monstrous.
I've heard of that. I've never actually read it, but I see tons of fan art online. Mostly characters holding hands and like making out with each other.
Those are actually all by me.
That's amazing. You're very talented. Like, I was obsessed with kaiju movies as a kid. I used to watch the old Toho stuff with my dad.
Yeah, I watched a ton of those when I was researching. Like Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, all of those guys. I can send you a couple of the books if you want.
Ellie is proper excited now, rising from her seat.
Oh, wait here. No, wait. Yes? Yeah, I'll be right back.
Ellie rushes off, out of view of her laptop camera.
I can't actually go anywhere.
David waits patiently as the faint sounds of Ellie rummaging off camera can be heard. She returns, holding her beat-up acoustic guitar.
Okay, so when I was a kid, the first song I ever wrote that I was actually kind of proud of was about Mothra.
You wrote a song about Mothra.
Yeah, I know she has a song in the movie, but I loved her so much. I thought she was so pretty and powerful, and I don't know.
Before she can think herself out of it, Ellie plucks at her guitar, folk-like.
Oh, Mothra, Samara, cycle of birth, cycle of death, and rebirth. Coming to save us, coming to warn us, wrapping us all up in your giant wings. Sentient larva down from the mountains, guardian angel, you float on the breeze. Prayer of your followers, power of your ancestors, you wrap us up in your giant wings.
Ellie suddenly becomes self-conscious and stops playing.
I mean, whatever. I was 15.
What? No, that was really cool.
I was listening to a lot of Sufjan Stevens at the time.
Wait. You said you're scoring a movie?
It's nothing. I reached out to some people who make YouTube videos I like. They were looking for a composer, so I sent them an email. Look, emails I can do.
So is that what you want to do? Be a composer?
I don't know. Queen did a score. Daft Punk did a film score. I mean, I want to make music as me, but you have to, like, you know, put yourself out there to do that. And I'm not...
Yeah, I had to do a tour for the first book, and it almost broke me. I am very okay with just being a name on paper.
I would also be very okay with that.
Okay, I want to ask you something, but you can absolutely tell me no if the answer is no.
Okay.
Do you have any other songs about giant monsters I can hear?
No, not giant monsters, but I have some about other characters.
Oh, like in movies?
Movies, books, anytime I really like a character, I end up making like a theme song for them. No one has theme songs anymore. It's a bummer.
Can you play me one of those?
Ellie smiles a little, but makes a face thinking about it. Montage, Ellie's theme songs.
Muppet behind the curtain, always just standing by. Without your careful stagehand suitor, the Muppet Show would surely die.
Later.
And they'll call me Anna of the green gables and
Even later,
keeper of the keys, keeper of the grounds. But I wonder just what it is that's keeping me around. That was a song for Hagrid.
David claps as someone knocks on his front door. He motions for Ellie to hold.
2 seconds.
David opens his front door. Benji holds a bag full of groceries.
Hey, buddy.
I didn't order anything.
Yeah, these are mine. Can you help me with something?
Potentially. What is it?
Okay, so I've been working on this recipe, and I guess there's no other way to say it. I want to find out if white people can eat it.
David pops back in front of his computer.
Hey, I gotta help Benji out with something. Can I call you later?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I really like the songs. Mothra is still my favorite, but the one about Badger from Breaking Band is a close second. Talk later?
Ellie waves as David ends the video call. Ellie is alone in her room until Ramona wanders in. Ellie winces, suddenly embarrassed.
Oh, why did I play the scooter one? The scooter one is so weird.
Ramona meows.
Oh, whatever. You like everything.
Benji sets a plate with 2 tacos down in front of David in his dining room.
Tacos, nice.
Okay, so I was delivering from this Korean place, and the guy, he ordered this spicy chicken thing.
How many jobs do you have?
And it smelled so good. So I went back, I ordered some for me, Mexican-Korean alliance remains strong. And I try it, and I'm like, this should be on a taco.
I didn't know you cook.
You kind of still don't know if I can.
Fair enough.
David takes a bite out of one of the tacos. It's spicy.
Oh, wow.
Ah, shit, it's too spicy, right?
No, it's good. Spicy, but good.
Yes. Awesome. Tacos can do anything.
Yeah. So have you been cooking a long time?
Nah, just like 5-10 years. I don't really know any Spanish. Growing up in the Midwest, I was always like the only Latino kid in school. But with food, I can kind of like connect in a different way, Food's way better than talking anyway.
David finishes the first taco and exhales.
Especially if it tastes like that.
Hey, thanks. Actually, one of my goals is to open like a little corner place, people could sit down, enjoy themselves.
Like a restaurant? I don't know, man.
Benji looks hurt.
Right. Nah, yeah, it's stupid.
I just mean the problem with a restaurant is all the overhead, right? Equipment, staff, then you have to find a location where you get a balance of visibility and affordability. Plus, neighborhood demographics change like so much in a few years. Who even knows if you can
David's face lights up.
make a food truck?
Yeah?
Yeah, far less overhead, and you wouldn't be stuck in a permanent location.
Benji leans back, taking in David's advice.
You could just set up some social media accounts, let people know where you're parking that day, and then go where the business takes you. And after a couple of years of that, you could transition into a permanent location, but it wouldn't be as big of a gamble because you could keep the food truck going to supplement your profit.
Holy shit, dude.
Sorry, I researched a bunch into restaurants once for a character in the books. Sometimes to avoid writing, I just research and pretend it's work.
Yeah, I do that too. I went down a rabbit hole about the Beach Boys once. I haven't been the same since.
Something catches Benji's eye, and he rises from the table.
Are those your books?
Benji approaches a bookcase on an opposite wall. Every shelf is full of various books, but the top shelf is lined with dozens of copies of the same 2 books, Monstrous and Monstrous 2 by David Barnes. Benji slides a copy out to look. David winces.
Yeah, I have this thing about open spaces on bookshelves.
Completely unfazed, Benji coolly flips through pages.
Nah, man, it's cool. If I had a book, I'd line them up all over my house.
Kind of be a fire hazard.
You mind if I...
Benji wiggles the copy of Monstrous he's holding.
Oh, please, no, go ahead. Take one of each.
Sweet. Free books?
Benji slips out a copy of Monstrous 2.
Actually, hey, can you run copies over to Ellie's after this? I told her I would.
Benji turns to David coyly.
Oh, sharing your work with her. Nice, Dave. Very nice.
David can't help but smile to himself. At the same time, Ellie passes by her front window and stops. She can see Benji and David laughing and enjoying each other's company. An unexpected pang of longing passes over Ellie. Ramona moseys over to Ellie and rubs up against her leg. Ellie picks her up so that she is looking out the window too. After a moment of watching, Ellie turns to Ramona.
I remember when we used to laugh like that.
Ramona meows. Later, with Ramona in her lap, Ellie sits on her couch, scrolling through titles on Netflix, trying to find something to watch. Nothing seems to grab her. She shuts her television off and grabs the book sitting on her coffee table. She pulls out her bookmark and settles in to start reading, but she can't seem to concentrate. Putting the book down, she opens her laptop. She scrolls through social media, looks at fan art, reads some blogs, takes a quiz, clicks through memes. Nothing makes an impact. Ellie leans back and sighs. The doorbell rings, and she's never looked more relieved. Ellie opens the front door and finds Benji leaving some items on her stoop. He pauses.
Oh, I didn't think you'd answer the door. Well, here, books and tacos. These are from Dave.
He hands her copies of David's books.
Oh, wow. He was serious.
And these are from me.
Benji presents Ellie with a container of 2 tacos.
Well, the tacos are mine. The Tupperware is David's. I would give it back, though. He probably, catalogs them at night or something.
She hesitantly takes the container.
Thanks.
If you don't like them or just throw them out, not a big deal. Just please don't ever tell me about it because I will take it very, very personally. Have a good night.
Benji leaves Ellie behind holding the books and tacos. Insert, the tacos go in the microwave. Moments later, Ellie studies the tacos as they spin around inside the microwave. Ramona watches her with bored curiosity.
If this goes south, you're having bonus dinner tonight.
Ramona meows.
Yeah. Who doesn't love bonus dinner?
The microwave beeps. Ellie takes the plate out and bites into the taco. Her eyes widen with a rush of surprise.
Oh my god. You will have none of this.
She takes another bite as her phone gets a notification. She checks the message. Text from David.
Did you get the books? I thought about signing them, but that would be weird, right?
Ellie smiles at her phone. David is at his desk writing and rewriting a sentence. John was hungry. No. John was bored. No. John was unimpressed with David's stupid bad writing and thought he was a hack. Beside his computer, David's phone dings with a message. Text from Ellie.
Thanks for the books. I'll read them soon, but I'm in the middle of another book I've got to finish first.
Before David can answer, he gets another. Text from Ellie.
Isn't it weird that we keep up with 20 different TV shows, but only read one book at a time?
David responds, blissfully distracted. Meanwhile, Ellie is holding another check, staring at it in disbelief, this one for even less than the previous one. She gets the check down with the rest of her, or she sets the check down with the rest of her mail as her phone gets a notification. Text from David.
I don't know what you mean. I'm actually reading 58 books right now. I can't tell you what any of them are about, but I'm reading them.
Ellie smiles as she responds, forgetting the check, blissfully distracted. Another time, David is preparing lunch in his kitchen when his phone gets another notification. Text from Ellie.
I've decided that Ramona needs a theme song. I'm thinking early Metallica vibes. Thoughts?
Moments later, Ellie is laying in bed reading a book when her phone gets another notification. Text from David.
Ramona strikes me as more of a Bowie type.
And so it goes. David and Ellie talk on the phone when they can, but otherwise message each other constantly. They text and reply as days and then weeks pass. Finally, text from Ellie.
Got any Halloween plans?
David sits at his desk at night, his laptop open to some kind of creepy found footage video. His phone rests nearby with Ellie on speaker.
Are you watching? You're not covering your eyes, right?
Meanwhile, Ellie is lying on her floor watching the same video.
There's nothing to cover them from. That nothing's happening. It's just a guy sleeping in his own bed.
Wait for it.
Ellie scans the screen with her eyes. Someone in the video screams. Ellie shouts. David laughs. Ellie is immediately mad at herself for being scared.
Oh, that was so fake.
Well, yeah.
We're supposed to be showing each other real stuff.
Define real in this context. There aren't real videos of ghosts and monsters, Ellie, because ghosts and monsters aren't real.
Well, we don't know that they're not real.
No, we do. We absolutely know for a fact that they're not real.
Not that there's actually a lot of evidence that suggests...
No, there isn't. If there was actual evidence that ghosts were real, the entire world would never stop screaming.
There's a knock on the door. David gets up.
Is that Benji? I want to get his opinion on this whole ghost debate.
There's no debate. They're not real.
David carries his phone into the foyer to answer the door. Benji stands in the doorway, a big box of Halloween decorations in hand.
Trick or treat.
David steps aside, allowing Benji to enter.
Hey, what's all this stuff?
Oh, Ellie wanted you to have some Halloween stuff to decorate with.
Don't be mad. Hi, Benji.
What? I decorated.
David points to a small, lonely pumpkin, plain and uncarved.
What is he pointing at?
A single pumpkin, neither painted nor carved.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
He made it sound way worse the way he said it.
David, why do you hate decorating on holidays? It's like the best part of owning a house.
All right. A, the best part of owning a house is not paying rent. And B, what is the point of putting a bunch of stuff up for a few weeks just to take it all back down, throw it in a box, and then not look at it for the rest of the year?
Well, that's what makes it special.
David is rummaging through the box of decorations.
Okay, well, Halloween is basically over, so I'm not putting all this up for just a few hours.
Ellie stands up. She grabs a DVD of Halloween.
We're about to watch Halloween on Halloween. That's like holy. And if you're going to do this, you need to get on my level.
For the first time, we see Ellie's house in full display. Every inch of it is in orange, black, or otherwise decorated. It looks less like she's celebrating Halloween and more like she's starting a cult that worships it.
Your level scares me.
It's worth it. Makes you feel good. And if you even put just a teeny bit of the stuff Benji brought, it would make me really happy. That's worth it, right?
On David, he looks at his sparse, perfect walls. The decor is all impeccably placed and fits the overall aesthetic. He looks in Ellie's box of Halloween stuff. It's a hodgepodge of cheesy, garish party store decorations. He pulls out a small plastic cat skeleton and grimaces.
Ugh.
Benji leans over to look in the box too.
I know, right? It's like, where to even start?
Suddenly, the lights in the house go out.
Mood lighting. Not where I would have started, but I respect it.
David side-eyes Benji.
I'll go check it out.
Benji heads outside. David makes his way toward the kitchen.
Hey, did your power just go out too?
Sure looks like it.
Ellie sits at her dining room table, alone in the dark. The open laptop is the room's only source of light.
Well, this sucks. My laptop only has like 30 minutes of power left. We can't watch the movie.
I'm not doing anything tomorrow.
We can't watch Halloween on November 1st. That's sacrilege. What would you do if you woke up on December 26th and your parents just acted like it was Christmas again?
David is reaching around in a storage closet.
I'd probably roll with it. I was a surprisingly agreeable child.
He pulls a flashlight out of the closet and turns it on.
If we can't watch it tonight, we'll just have to wait till next year.
Ellie, that's insane. You can watch it whenever you want. If I wanted to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on my computer right now, I could. That's the whole point of the internet.
I only watch Rudolph when it's on TV the week before Christmas with commercials.
David sits at his dining room table. He puts the flashlight on the table, pointed at the ceiling to illuminate the room.
You're kidding.
We cross-cut between Ellie and David. It almost looks like they're sitting together.
Halloween movies on Halloween, Christmas movies at Christmas. I'm a lady of tradition.
What about Jaws?
Exclusively 4th of July weekend.
Planes, trains, automobiles.
Thanksgiving.
Groundhog Day?
Ellie raises an eyebrow. Come on, man.
What if you're watching a movie you've never seen, and there's a part that takes place during Christmas, but it's the middle of April? What do? Turn it off? Leave the room?
The holiday in question has to be integral to the plot, like Die Hard and Gremlins, Christmas movies. The Harry Potter series are just regular movies with Christmas scenes in them, which makes them fair game year-round.
You've thought a lot about this.
Well, there's just something special about watching a holiday film on the holiday in question. It makes them mean more.
There's a knock on her door. She gets up to answer it.
Which is why we're not watching Halloween on November 1st.
Got it.
Ellie opens her front door. Benji stands on the stoop.
Power's out in the whole neighborhood. Some kids dared each other to throw their trick-or-treat bags up at the power line. I guess one of them's like a tiny little John Elway or something because he chucked it all the way up there and knocked it off its axis or whatever.
Ellie's hopes are dashed.
So, no power.
Nah, not for a while, but I better take off. I'm getting orders like crazy.
All right. See ya.
Happy Halloween.
Benji bounds back to his car as Ellie shuts the door. She turns her attention back to the phone as she walks back to her chair and sits down.
That was Benji. I think it's game over for tonight.
Ah, that sucks. I'm sorry, Ellie.
That's fine. There's always next year.
Yeah. Honestly, this might be a good excuse for me to get some writing done before my battery dies.
Right. Right. Cool.
What's up?
Nothing.
David is not remotely convinced.
It's okay if it's not nothing.
Ellie sighs and shifts in her seat as she rolls her next words around before saying them out loud.
I think we might have maybe watched one too many creepy videos.
You said it looked fake.
But now it's dark and I can't stop imagining that ghost kid staring at me from every shadow.
Ellie drops her head in embarrassment.
Stop laughing at me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Where's Ramona? She'll protect you.
I got her a new cat toy for Halloween. She's probably drunk on catnip somewhere thinking about the war.
Well, you know what I used to do when I would get freaked out by something scary as a kid?
I'm an adult, but go ahead.
I would remind myself that I'm not in a scary story. If I was in a horror movie, I'd be in a lot of trouble right now. But since I'm not, I don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, that's definitely something someone says right before they die.
If you were actually in a movie and ghosts were in any way real, that might be true. But you're not, and they aren't, so it isn't.
You're staying on the phone with me while I find some candles.
Ellie gets off the couch to start looking.
In your place, that'll take forever.
Yep.
Later, Ellie is digging through a hall closet searching for candles.
It's not that I don't see the value in being organized. It's just not a high priority for me. I'm too busy wondering where my next paycheck's coming from.
At the same time, David aimlessly wanders around his house holding his flashlight, phone to his ear.
Yeah, I would not survive that kind of stress. I got so lucky with the books. You're pretty tough.
Ellie finds the candles she was looking for in a box. She sets them aside and puts the box back into the closet.
But I spend most of the day trying not to cry. I'm not tough. I see people I went to school with becoming successful or just living an actual life. I don't know how to do that. It's like they all went to this seminar on how to be a real person that I wasn't invited to, and now I'm just trapped in this cocoon of my own anxieties.
Know what you mean.
Ellie leans into the door, forcing the overstuffed closet shut.
You're a best-selling author. You live in the cleanest, nicest house I've ever seen. You're not exactly struggling, dude.
Cross-cut as Ellie lights candles and David wanders through his house. It almost looks like they're walking together.
I mean, feeling trapped. My place is immaculate because I literally need it to be. If everything isn't exactly where it's supposed to go at all times, my whole world starts to break down. No matter what I'm doing or who I'm talking to, there's always this buzz in the back of my head. And on good days, it's quiet. On a bad day, it drowns out everything, but it's always there. I don't think I've ever relaxed once in my life.
At least you can talk to people. I know I could get out of this rut if I could just, network or whatever, but I can't.
Sure, but I mean, I'm talking to you right now, and all I want to be is totally focused on that because I love talking to you.
Ellie tries not to react to the L word.
But I got this little part of me that can't stop thinking about the coffee mug I left on my desk. What direction is it pointed? Handle in or handle out? Should I wash it right now or later? Should I wash it twice just to be sure, like once now in the dark and then again when the power comes back on? Or should I just throw the mug away? And that's just the coffee mug. I can go on all day about everything.
When I think about talking to someone I don't know, it's like my brain lights on fire with every possible worst case scenario all at once, and I start to panic. And that's just normal talking. It's a harmless, everyday conversation. If it's confrontational in any way, my circuits overload and I just shut down completely.
Do you often talk about yourself like you're a robot?
Mostly, yeah.
I do too. I say things like reprogram or reboots, or I worry about memory space.
Why are we like this?
I don't know. I used to really hate it. I used to wish really, really hard that my brain worked normally.
You don't anymore?
If it did, I might not have connected with you. It wouldn't feel like it does right now.
Both David and Ellie stop in front of windows that have a view of each other's houses across the street.
Two compatible systems.
We rack focus. David and Ellie stare into their own reflections.
Two sad, broken robots.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah,
Is your brain buzzing right now?
always. But it's quieter with you.
Later, Ellie lies face up on her mattress, lit candles scattered around the room, still on the phone with David.
Do you think we'll ever leave?
At the same time, David lies on his bed, also on his back, flashlight on the nightstand nearby.
Do you want to?
We cross-cut between Ellie and David. It almost looks like they're lying in bed together.
Some days it really feels like I could keep going like this forever. It's disturbingly comfortable, but mostly it's like I'm trying to climb out of a hole with both my arms tied behind my back. It's hard. I'm worried this is all my life is going to be.
Yeah. Sometimes I want to believe I'm just waiting to finish the book. And once I'm done, I'll just walk out the door, no problem. But then I have a full-on breakdown because some little thing is slightly out of place and it hits me. I can barely manage in here and I want to go out there.
It all just seems so big and random and mean. People die in their cars on their way to work, or they suddenly just don't want to be around you anymore and you can't do anything about it. You're helpless. How do normal people stand it?
Bad memories hit Ellie and a tear falls down her face. She feels it and wipes it away quickly, rolling onto her side.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just easier if it's just me, you know?
David sighs. He rolls onto his side too. It looks like they're facing each other, almost close, almost intimate.
Sometimes it is.
And David means it.
Other people can be okay, though.
Sometimes. Depends on who they are.
They can't see each other, but somehow they know they're sharing a smile. Neither knows what to say next, but it isn't uncomfortable. They settle into the silence, enjoying the moment. Ellie tries to say something, but she doesn't quite know how.
David.
Yeah?
Ellie takes a few breaths, building her courage.
I wish we could...
And the lights come back on suddenly, instantly ruining the mood. David sits up. The electricity is back.
Whoa! Hey, is your power back on?
Ellie holds her palm to her forehead, wincing at whatever she was about to say.
Ellie?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I think I just heard my AC kick on.
You still want to do Halloween?
Actually, I'm kind of wiped.
Oh. You sure?
Yeah, I don't think I'd make it through the whole thing.
Okay, yeah. No problem.
Call you tomorrow?
For sure. Good night.
Night.
Ellie ends the call and squeezes her eyes shut, exhaling nervous energy. Her eyes open and she runs her hand through the space next to her bed. David frowns, a little disappointed. He looks into the empty side of his bed as if he's noticing her for the first time. His bedroom feels too quiet and lonely now. Ellie and David both reach out as the frame transitions into split screen, making it appear as if they're sharing the same bed, their hands almost touching. On the left, Ellie rolls onto her back. She closes her eyes and laughs at herself, holding the smile as she thinks of David. On the right, David rolls onto his back and sighs deeply, a smile slowly growing across his face as he thinks of Ellie. They both get out of bed and leave the frame, but the split screen remains. Montage. Split screen dating with David and Ellie. Ellie and David sit on their couches together, watching a movie while in a video call with each other. Ellie and David eat dinner together, each with their laptop in front of them in a video call. Ellie reads a book to David as they lie together on their floors, phones nearby. David and Ellie chat as they do laundry together in their respective laundry rooms. Ellie plays a new song for David as he laughs. She stops playing suddenly, acting faux offended. David reads a strategy guide as Ellie plays a video game, following along with his directions. David and Ellie cook Thanksgiving dinner together in their kitchenettes, giving each other advice. David and Ellie are asleep together, having passed out from Thanksgiving food, phones nearby. One afternoon, David is typing at his computer relatively painlessly. A video call comes in. David winces, but answers it.
Camilla!
Howdy, Flash. Just checking in, seeing how things are going. You got to be getting close to the end now, right?
David glances at his page count. 26.
You know it. It's going so well. I'm just ripping right through it.
Camilla's face drops.
What?
I've known you longer than I've known my wife, pal. I know what your bullshit sounds like.
Okay, yeah, I'm not typing the final sentence, but I'm not blocked. It's actually coming out. I mean, something's coming out.
David, if we don't have a draft by the 1st of January, we have to take back the advance.
The color drains from David's face. He sits up and leans in, pleading.
Camilla, I can't afford to keep living here without the advance. I'm a writer. I don't have any actual life skills in a capitalist society. I'm the guy in a zombie movie they kill quietly in his sleep so there's more food to go around.
I would probably keep writing then.
She ends the call, leaving David behind in a wide-eyed panic. Later, Ellie scores another scene between Griffin and Bex on her bedroom, or on her keyboard. Text from David.
Work emergency. Won't be able to chill tonight. Sorry.
Ellie's brow furrows in concern. She taps out a response.
Everything okay?
A second later, another text from David.
It's fine. Call you tomorrow.
Ellie frowns and responds.
Good luck.
She sets her phone down and sighs. Ramona jumps into her lap and Ellie pets her.
What do you want to do tonight, Rami?
Ellie surveys the room, searching for an idea. Insert. Ellie grabs Monstrous from a stack of books. Meanwhile, David is firmly planted at his desk, typing like a madman. Ellie is curled up on her couch reading Monstrous as she pets Ramona. She reads something that takes her by surprise, and she giggles gleefully. We cross-cut. David is hunched over his keyboard. The white void on his screen is starting to fill with words, then paragraphs, then even whole pages. Ellie reads all over her house, completely absorbed. David paces around his office, mumbling out loud, puzzling out the next part of his book. Ellie finishes the book, checks the time, 1 a.m. Monstrous 2 sits nearby. She's tempted, but it's pretty late. Screw it. David eats oatmeal on his desk as he writes. Ellie reads Monstrous 2 in the kitchen while cooking breakfast with her free hand. David stands in front of his corkboard, pinning the last couple of index cards into his outline. He takes a step back, absorbing the big picture. Ellie wraps up the second book, chewing on the ending. She flips to the back and looks at David's about the author. David types and types. He stops to remove his glasses and rub his eyes, but quickly pops them back on and keeps going. A man on a mission. Later, Ellie is getting a video call on her laptop. She rushes over, but deflates a little. Call from Trevor, director. Ellie takes a breath and accepts the call. Trevor Holland, 32, earthy and chic, is on the other end.
Hey, Trevor.
Ellie, hi. Sorry, did I wake you up?
No, this is just what I look like.
You are so funny. Hey, so I wanted to tell you this in person. Well, relatively. I know we're in different parts of the country, but I didn't want to just send a text or something.
Okay.
So we had some difficulties with money stuff, and we're actually going to have to press pause on post-production, indefinitely.
Oh.
It's such a shit show, honestly. And, unfortunately, as a result, totally not in anyone's control, we're not going to be able to pay you. The money we were going to pay you with just doesn't exist.
Ellie can feel her heart rate increasing.
Oh, wow.
I'm really, really sorry. I just think, we all kind of went into this bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, that's not cool, Trevor.
I know. We were all so passionate about seeing this thing get made, and
Ellie physically wills herself to keep talking.
No, I mean, it's not cool that you're not paying me. That's the thing that's not cool.
Ellie, hey, this wasn't in anyone's control.
I'm passionate about. I need money for food to stay alive. I did work for you because I thought you were going to pay me for it.
And here, I thought you were a fan of our stuff, Ellie. You knew going in this was an independent project.
Ellie has to shut her eyes.
It's not cool to give someone work to do and then not pay them.
Hey, Ellie, you don't have to get upset.
I think if you have money, you should pay me for the work I've done. That's what I think, Trevor.
Yeah, but the movie's not gonna happen.
You can use what I sent you for videos. You can put it on a chill out mix. You can play it at a funeral. I don't give a shit. I'm not asking for a lot. I just think I deserve something for my work.
Trevor sighs and looks around thinking.
Okay, look, I can quick pay you a couple $100.
Great, fine.
I, just really thought you were doing this for the love, Ellie.
Thanks, bye.
Ellie slams her laptop shut. She exhales and laughs, barely believing what just happened.
Oh my God.
Ellie opens her phone contacts and taps on David's name. David is back at his desk, typing, deleting, typing, stuck in a cycle of frustration. His phone rings. He distractedly answers.
Yeah?
Ellie's in her kitchen, bristling with excitement.
Hey, stranger, what's going on?
David doesn't break eye contact with his screen.
Good. How's everything with you?
Well, something kind of crazy just happened.
Good crazy or bad crazy?
I asked for something that I really wanted, that something I deserved. I really feel like I deserve, and they kind of gave it to me.
David stops typing, turning his attention to the call.
Wait, what are we talking about?
The director of that movie I was scoring wasn't going to pay me, and I was like, hey guy, that's not cool. Give me my money.
That is awesome. Yes, get your money.
I got my damn money. I mean, it's only a couple $100, so it's not like...
No, Ellie, that's really cool. I'm proud of you. That's not condescending, is it? Saying I'm proud of you?
I'm proud of me too. That was out of character.
Well, you're not a character. You're a person.
Oh, also, I read your books.
What?
They were actually really good.
Aw, my favorite part is that you said it like it was a surprise.
They just weren't what I was expecting, I thought they'd just be teenagers getting eaten by kaiju and kissing each other. I mean, they were, but they were also so weird and dark. I think people are actually misinterpreting.
Inspiration suddenly hits David like a freight train.
Wait. Oh my God, Ellie, something just clicked. I'll call you back.
Oh, okay.
David hangs up, then rushes back to his corkboard and starts switching some index cards around. Later, Ellie's on her couch, numbly clicking through Netflix. She checks her phone, but she has no missed calls or texts. Later, Ellie's in her bed, staring up at the ceiling. She picks up her phone and shoots off a text. David's phone lights up with Ellie's text.
Guess you forgot about me. Lol. Night.
But the phone is nowhere near David as he types away at his desk. He doesn't even hear the notification. The next day, the front door opens and Benji hesitantly enters, holding bags of David's groceries.
Hello?
No response, but he hears something. Typing? Benji peeks inside David's office and sees David at his desk.
Oh, you're here. You didn't answer the door. I didn't want to leave the groceries on the stoop again, so I kind of let myself in.
David doesn't look away from his screen.
Hey, Benji, sorry about that. I'm actually in the middle of something. Can you just put all that away?
Benji blinks.
You want me to put your groceries away? Like by myself?
Mm-hmm.
Benji waits for any more direction. He doesn't get any. David is in another world.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Thanks. Big help. I left some cash on the counter. That's all of it's yours.
David's full attention returns to his manuscript. Benji lingers on David a moment, then heads to the kitchen. Days later, lying on the couch, Ellie scrolls through the multiple texts she has sent David over the last few days, but no reply. Ellie sets her phone on the coffee table and curls into a ball, burying herself in a blanket. Her doorbell rings. She ignores it. The doorbell rings again. Ellie gets up, but she isn't happy about it. She opens the door. It's Benji holding groceries.
Hey, yikes.
It's obvious that Ellie hasn't showered or changed clothes in a while. It's not a good look.
Jeez Louise, are you sick?
Ellie stares blankly at Benji.
No, I'm in perfect health.
When was the last time you ate?
A deli-style turkey sandwich slides into view. Benji has placed the plated sandwich in front of Ellie at her dining room table. He sits across from her. Ellie looks down at it. It's a pretty great-looking sandwich. She starts to tear up.
Oh shit! Are you vegan? I just used what was in the. I can make vegan shit. It's not a problem.
No, it's just I think you're the first person to make food for me who wasn't my mom.
It's actually not the first time I've been compared to a mom.
Ellie takes a bite of her sandwich.
This is so good.
You have really good bread.
Have you talked to David?
Benji makes a face like, kind of?
I think he got sick of me.
I don't think that's true. I think you're the only person he actually enjoys talking to.
Well, he's not talking to me anymore. Texted him like a dozen times this weekend, haven't heard back.
He's fine. He's just writing. Like, literally every moment that he's awake, he's writing. He must be having like a breakthrough or whatever.
You sure?
Yeah, worry about you. Take care of you. He'll be back when it's done.
Ellie nods and takes another bite. She wants to believe what Benji is saying, but she's not sure she can. Later, David sits at his desk typing away at his manuscript. He breaks from the screen for a moment and sees the plastic cat skeleton he put on his desk from the Halloween decorations that Ellie gave him. David stops typing and glances out the window at Ellie's house and smiles. He misses her. Later, Ellie is curled up on her couch again, watching TV. The living room looks like more of a mess than usual. Dirty dishes scattered across the coffee table. Her phone rings. She checks it. David is calling. Relief fills her face as she hits pause on what she was watching. She gathers herself and then answers.
Hey!
David is pacing around his living room, phone to his ear.
Hey, listen, I just really want to apologize about blowing you off so much lately.
Oh, no, it's fine. You're working on the book. I totally get it.
Yeah, but I could have texted you back, made more of an effort. It was a dick move. I'm sorry.
The apology is a huge relief to Ellie, but she keeps it casual by changing the subject.
So did you have like big breakthrough or something?
Kind of. The publisher basically said that if I don't get this thing written by the end of the year, they're going to hire somebody to shoot me in the face and just publish it posthumously.
Oh, man. Well, what sucks is that would probably drive up sales.
That's super comforting to hear.
Is it going well?
It's getting there. Finally. It's just taking a lot out of me. What's going on with you? How's the movie going?
Oh, sort of fell apart. Like, kind of told you before, the money thing.
Right, that's right. I suck. I'm sorry. Are you okay?
Yeah, it's fine. The movie was really bad, so it's whatever. It's nice having something to focus on, though.
Well, what else could you focus on?
I mean, that was sort of the only thing I had going on right now.
So maybe you could use the opportunity to work on something you actually enjoy for once?
Later, Ellie sits on the floor with her keyboard in her lap. She fiddles with the keys, absent of inspiration. As her mind wanders with her fingers on the keys, Ellie finds a simple chord progression she likes. She sharpens it, liking it more. She gets an idea. Ellie plugs her electric guitar into an amp in her garage. She finds the chord progression she made on the keyboard with the strings on her guitar. She clicks play on her laptop, and a recording of her keyboard plays on a loop. Ellie finds the guitar where the guitar can go, playing with her own recording. She smiles a little. Maybe it's the start of something. David enters his office in the morning with his coffee. He sits at his desk, wakes up the computer, and soon he's typing again. As he presses on, time passes into evening and late night. David rubs his eyes, ready to end the day. He crosses out the date on the calendar before leaving the room. While making herself some lunch, Ellie scribbles bits of lyrics on a yellow pad against her fridge and countertops as they come to her, the music playing on a loop in her head. Suddenly needing some percussion, Ellie starts to bang rhythmically on the counter. Close on David's fingers, banging away at the keyboard as another day is crossed out, and another, and another, and another. That January deadline coming ever closer. Close on Ellie's fingers, plucking strings and pressing keys. She edits tracks on her laptop, stitching a song together. David is exhausted and anxious in equal rounds, forcing himself to continue when he can barely stay awake. At 283 pages, he finally gives in and calls it a night, shutting down his computer. David starts to head to bed, but gets a text. Text from Ellie.
Free to chat for a sec?
David sighs. He needs to sleep, but Ellie sees on her phone she's getting a video call request from David. She accepts the call and holds the phone up to her face.
Hi.
Hey, so I can't really talk for super long.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you're busy. It's just, I sort of wanted to play something.
Like a song?
Yeah, it's totally not a big deal. Just something I've been sort of playing with the last couple of weeks.
What's it about?
Me? Kind of?
Wow, that's... Hell yeah, play it.
Oh, actually, it's easier if I just send you a recording. There's like multiple instruments and stuff.
Okay, Trent Reznor, send it over. I'll listen before I go to sleep.
Awesome. And if, I don't know, I've never done anything like this before, so I'm pretty nervous.
Why? I'm gonna love it.
Ellie half smiles, hiding her apprehension. She presses send on the email that she already had prepared. Later, ready for bed, David pulls up the email on his phone. He presses play on the file, Ellie's song, and then sets the phone on his bedside table. David lies down on his bed, eyes to the ceiling as the song starts. He lies there, absorbed by the song.
Inside, there's nobody but me. Sometimes that's precisely what I need. Inside, I feel totally free for a while till the daylight chases me. The world ain't changing much to my chagrin. Why go out? Everything I love is in. Listen close and I'll confide. Living with what's inside. Inside, I have frenemies with the sun. I'm an island, population 1. Inside, a winner is wearing my clothes, 'cause in here self-esteem is self-imposed. Don't cry for me, I'm not one for keeping it fake. I feel fine, no cabin fever to break. Out that door I'm terrified. Living with what's inside. 'Cause what have you got that I haven't got? Days slip away, am I a have or have not? Out my window, so close and yet so far. On display, a bug inside a jar. Nonetheless, I'm satisfied. Living with what's inside. 'Cause what have you got that I haven't got? Days slip away, am I a have or have not? Inside, my memories uncompromised, all systems go. My circuitry isn't fried. Living with what's inside.
The file ends. David picks up his phone and plays it again. He logs onto Twitter and uploads the song in a tweet. Can't stop listening to this at Ellie Enders Music. He sets the phone down and goes to sleep, still listening to the song, a smile on his face. In the morning, David sits down in front of his computer, so near exhaustion, but so close to the finish line. Coffee in hand, ritual intact, barely. He numbly clicks on the machine on, but instead of the familiar sterile white, his screen glows with an alien blue, the blue screen of death. Insert. The hard drive is corrupted and not responding. David's eyes widen in horror. Later, the front door opens and David stands on the stoop dressed for the cold. He raises a bag.
Got your computer thing.
David snatches the bag out of Benji's hand and races to his broken computer.
Yes!
Benji follows David, watching him as he removes the new hard drive from the bag and his package out of its packaging like a precious thing. He begins to carefully swap out the hard drives.
Thanks for doing this, Benji. I think you might have just saved my career.
All good.
Benji shifts uncomfortably.
I'm actually kind of glad you called. I need to talk to you about something.
Oh man, whatever it is, it's really gotta wait. I'm at 0 hour right now with the book.
David doesn't turn away from his laptop as he finishes screwing in the new hard drive. Benji takes a beat, then relents.
Right. Yeah, okay. No worries. We'll go ahead and get out of your hair.
Benji starts to go, but turns back.
Well, see ya.
David says nothing as he turns on the computer. Benji frowns and leaves, shutting the front door behind him. Focused on his computer, David watches the cloud backup load.
Come on. Come on.
The cloud backup finishes loading.
Please. Please, 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 please.
David gulps, holds his breath, and closes his eyes. He clicks on the Monstrous 3 save file. It opens and loads. 105 pages. David feels a stab through his heart.
No. Oh, no. No, I lost weeks.
He leans back in his chair, filled with utter shock. David is on the phone, using the kitchen counter to hold himself up.
I need an extension, Camilla, please.
You didn't back anything up? You didn't make copies? I mean, I make copies, and I'm not even a writer.
I'm an idiot. I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry. Please, just a week. I need a week.
It's out of my hands, David. The publishers aren't going to push another date back. This is it.
But it's not my fault.
Just get it done.
She hangs up. Moments later, David stands in the doorway of his office, defeated, looking around. All of the momentum he previously had is gone. He sits at his desk and stares at the open document. The page number 105 stares back, mocking him. David's jaw clenches and he looks away. His eyes catch the index cards on his corkboard. One of them isn't perfectly aligned with the others. He gets up and tries to straighten it, but no matter what he does, it doesn't look right. So he starts taking all the cards off the board, and then he straightens some items on a bookshelf and then the items on his desk. With each accomplishment, he feels a little better, so he gives in to his urges. Finishing his office, he moves on to the living room, then the kitchen, and on until he cleans everything. He finally finishes, but it's not enough. So he just does it again, focusing on the meticulous details this time, every nook, every cranny. Time lapse. David obsessively cleans everything in his house. Evening turns to night to dawn, dawn to day. He cleans and cleans with no signs of stopping. Insert. Ellie's phone is going nuts with alerts. In the afternoon, Ellie enters from another room and picks up her device, scrolling through the notifications, all from Twitter. Lots of new followers, tweets from strangers. Tweet at San Diego. Wow, I love this. Tweet Tanya at Del Tanya. How have I never heard of you before now? Tweet Hater 3579. Millennial bullshit. Why is this trending? Tweet BV _9245666843. You sell pics? Confused at first, Ellie keeps scrolling until she finds David's tweet with her song attached. Her heart stops. Later, David awakes with a start from lying in his sofa bed. His back suddenly aches as he gets up, rubbing his eyes like he's getting over a hangover. Looking over at his desk, he lets out a heavy sigh. He takes a seat in front of his computer, shakes the mouse, awakening it from rest mode. David sees on his phone on the desk that he's getting a call from Ellie. He answers, still tired, and holds up the phone.
Hey, sorry, I can't really talk right now. I got totally blindsided last night.
Did you share that song I sent you?
What?
The song I sent you. Did you put that on Twitter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was really good, Ellie.
You didn't I didn't give you permission to do that.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't meant to be like shared or passed around. I sent it to you. It was for you.
Okay. Look, Ellie, I'm sorry, but I can't really.
I don't give a shit about your book right now.
I
Do you get that you like really violated something between us when you did that? Is that registering with you at all?
Jesus, I just wanted to help. It was a really good song. I wanted people to hear it.
That's not your call. It's my thing. I made it. I get to I decide if other people get to hear it.
Look, it's scary to put yourself out there. I know, but...
No, you don't know. I have strangers on my phone telling me my voice sounds whiny, or that I must be sleeping with David Barnes because why else would he share my shitty song that I didn't even want other people to listen to?
You can't listen to that stuff, Ellie. You just have to ignore it. It's just...
You're not listening to me. You're ignoring me. You know, there's a reason I'm like this. I'm not just avoiding people. I'm avoiding situations like this. I let people in and then they hurt me without thinking about it or trying to. They hurt me and I can't.
Ellie.
Just finish writing your book, okay? Don't even think about me.
Ellie hangs up. David stares at his computer screen, his face filled with regret and disgust. Having nothing else to do now, he opens the Monsters 3 document and begins to read the 105 pages that existed. He scrolls through his work slowly at first and then faster and faster, his face filling with rage. He hates it, all of it, and he highlights and deletes the whole thing. Seething with self-hate, David walks away from his desk, unable to even be near his writing right now. He looks out his window. Ellie's house sits across the street, windows drawn. It looks out of reach and lost to him. David returns to his desk and the blank white screen. He sits down and lets his fingers hover over the keys for a moment. He closes his eyes, exhales, and then he starts to write. Her name was Olivia, and she lived across the street. He leans back. The sentence surprised him. He wasn't expecting to write it. He wasn't expecting to write anything. David looks at the sentence from every angle, like he's hanging a picture frame. His finger moves to the backspace key, ready to kill again, but something stops him. He keeps the sentence, and he writes another. Meanwhile, Ellie lays in bed. Her phone dings, a direct Twitter message. She picks up her phone and reads it. From @heartattack.
Hi, Ellie. Heard your song that David Barnes shared. It's so great. So I'm an animator on YouTube, mostly fan animations, but I have a pretty good following. I've been working on a new video for David Barnes's Monstrous series and wanted to commission you to...
Ellie makes a fart noise at her phone.
Nope.
And tosses it aside. And then she just lays there. Sometimes she watches something on TV. Sometimes she scrolls through blogs on her laptop. Sometimes she passively gives Ramona attention, but she never plays any music and she never stops looking dead inside. Days later, Ellie lays on the couch, head propped up with her arm. She stares blankly at the support group video on her screen.
Thank you for sharing, Regina. What about you, Ellie? It's your first meeting in a while. Is there anything you'd like to share with us?
Not really.
It doesn't have to be a lot. What's on your mind? How do you feel?
Bad.
Why do you feel bad?
Because I let it happen again. Like, I brought the wall down. I let someone in. It's like, it's not fair, you know? I was really trying this time. I thought it was going to be different, and it felt different. I don't know. Maybe I wanted it to be different, and I just let myself believe it. Stupid.
But it is different this time.
Ellie furrows her brow. What is she talking about?
You're talking to us. None of us have ever heard you share like this before.
The other members agree, pleased to finally hear Ellie speak.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So, even if this person isn't in your life anymore, it doesn't mean that it was a mistake. You've made a positive change because of your relationship with this person. That's how we grow.
It just feels like all this time I spent with him was a waste.
Nothing we take the time to build is ever a waste.
Later, Ellie enters her bedroom, grabbing her guitar and a notebook. She gets to work on a new song. We cross-cut with David, who's writing like a machine, but happily now. He likes what he's putting out. He's excited by it. Ellie's in her garage, guitar hooked up to the amp. She fiddles with the guitar, finding a melody she likes. David's once rigid schedule is looser now. Sometimes he'll stop and walk away, have a coffee, make dinner, but he always returns to the book, energized to write more. Ellie sends demo files to @HeartAttack, who shares the animation she's been working on. As David writes, the page count grows: 95, 138, 172, 213. @HeartAttack uploads her monstrous animation with Ellie's song. Ellie continuously checks the video page and sees the view count rise: 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. At the bottom of page 310, David writes, "The end." He leans back and sighs, satisfied. Ellie receives a new comment on her video. "The song in this is amazing. Who is it by? Does she have more stuff?" Ellie's back in her garage and she flips through pages and pages of yellow notepad lyrics, her instruments surrounding her. So much potential, so much work to do. Weeks later, Ellie is in a video chat with her mom.
Did you get my check?
I did, but you didn't have to do that, Ellie.
I know, but you did so much for me, and now that I have some money, it's important to me that I pay you back. You know, a little. As much as I can.
Your father would be so proud.
Thanks, Mom.
So, have you spoken to David?
Mom.
Well, have you tried?
No.
He made a mistake. But, Ellie, it was such a gift, you two finding each other. I don't think either of you were expecting it. You're both so used to taking care of yourselves that I think it's easy for you to forget that the other person might be hurting too. I'm not saying you should just give in or sell yourself short, but if you still care about him and it's worth it, maybe you could meet in the middle.
Ellie considers this. At 7 a.m., David wakes up and gets out of bed. We get a montage of David's unsatisfying morning routine repris. All of the similar beats to the original, but David just isn't feeling it anymore. He looks lost, isolated, trapped. Eventually, he loses step with his routine altogether.
All right, manuscript is officially approved.
Later, David sits in his dining room table on a call with Camilla.
The publisher is happy, the film people are happy, and as soon as I hang up on you, I'm taking the wife to Greece, so I'm very happy. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
David suddenly gets a little solemn.
Hey, I'm really sorry for being such a nightmare to deal with. I'm gonna work on that.
Well, hopefully it'll take less time than your next book.
Please don't say next book for at least a few months.
Oh, almost forgot. I emailed you something. This animation thing about the second book went low-key viral a couple weeks back, and I wanted to make sure that you saw it. Really good song at the end. Maybe we could hit her up or something on the soundtrack. Later, Flash.
Later, David watches the fan animation with Ellie's song playing underneath. The animation is charming and lo-fi. We hear Ellie's song through David's speakers, and we can tell that it's good, really good. David sits back, taking it in.
Legends, when there's monsters under the bed. Villains, when it's not all just in your head. When you go through hell, the demons make the tale more exciting to tell. Follow a hero put to the test. Solemn, a warrior alone on a quest. It always seems more grand when the war is won by a solitary woman or man. Losing the mood for adventure, splendor. Choose your own story, going hunting for treasure. Unless you're feeling kind of boring, what's on the next page? Anguish, our champion faces defeat. Vanquished, unless we slay at the feast. this the wolfman or the undead? Take a swing and hope that you knock off its head. Who's in the mood for adventure, splendor? Choose your own story. Going hunting for treasure unless you're feeling kind of boring. What's on the next page? Your cutlass, your claymore, your underwood keyboard. Brandish your weapon of choice. If fighting for romance, you might use your own hands. Dig in, erase your voice. Alexander Webb. No worlds to conquer, but maybe he just overslept. Who's in the mood for adventure, splendor? Choose your own story. Going hunting for treasure unless you're feeling kind of boring. What's on the next page of our latest adventure? Surrender, it'll be fantastic. Is it business or pleasure? I guess we're too enthusiastic. What's on the next page?
Wow.
After a moment, David gets an idea. Ellie is editing a new song when she is alerted to an email from David. Reluctant at first, Ellie opens the email and sees the manuscript for Monstrous 3 and a note.
I'm sorry for not listening, for betraying your trust, for everything. But I also have to thank you. You gave my books something I never could have. You gave them a sound. David.
Ellie can't help but smile a little at the message, then clicks on the attachment and chooses print. As Ellie goes to collect the pages, she walks past a window and spots David through his window across the street. They both freeze in place at the sight of the other. David gives a shy little wave and Ellie returns it. She pulls the first set of pages out of the printer and holds them up as if to say, "Look, I got them." David gives a thumbs up. Ellie begins reading the first page. Her name was Olivia and she lived across the street. Ellie shoots a surprised look back at David. He gives her a sad, almost apologetic smile and shrugs. David watches as Ellie goes back to reading. After a moment, he decides to leave her to it. David opens the fridge. It's empty. He exhales. Well, that won't do. Later, there's a knock on his front door, and David opens it to see Steven, the old grocery guy, standing on the stoop holding David's groceries. He smiles. David is dumbfounded.
Hey, yo, Mr. Barnes. Long time no see.
Steven, what are you doing here?
Got the groceries you ordered?
I thought you were at Harvard.
I got kicked out. It was pretty baller.
Where's Benji?
Steven
I have
stares
no
blankly.
idea who that is.
David is pacing around later in a video call with Benji.
What do you mean you quit?
Well, I had to quit since I moved.
You moved?
Dave, you remember that one night that I told you I wanted to open a restaurant and you were like, no, it's stupid as hell. You should start a food truck instead.
I didn't say stupid as hell, but yeah.
I just couldn't stop thinking about it, man. The idea of starting a restaurant, you know, it kind of freaked me out, but because it was such a big commitment. But a food truck, I don't know. I think I can really do that. So I moved in with some cousins out in New Orleans. We're going to try and make it happen. The Benji Bus. I don't know. We're still working on the name.
David has to sit down while listening to Benji's story, his face filled with pride for his friend.
Benji, that is fantastic. But why didn't you tell me?
I tried. You know, that day your computer shit the bed. You were kind of busy.
David's face drops with guilt.
Oh, man. I'm really sorry. I was just... You know what? No. You deserve better than that.
Did you finish the book?
Yeah, I turned it in last week.
Hey, congratulations. That's awesome. I bet Ellie's super stoked.
David makes a pained expression.
Oh, no. What did you do?
I shared a song she sent me on the internet without asking her first.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
I know, it was. And now nothing feels right anymore. It's just sort of empty.
Benji nods solemnly, then changes the subject.
So tell me about your book.
What do you want to know?
How does it end?
I mean, you could read it.
I could.
Right. Well,
Ellie sits on her couch, flipping pages as she reads the manuscript, completely enraptured. We cross-cut with the house. John is rummaging through the basement before coming across an old CB radio.
John finds this old radio and he uses it to try to contact the other survivors, any other survivors.
John is at a desk talking onto the radio.
He doesn't have any luck for a while, but then someone finally responds.
John is excited to finally get a response.
The person on the other end is this girl named Olivia, and they really hit it off.
John is holed up with the radio talking to Olivia.
Eventually, they fall in love, and John discovers that Olivia actually lives in the building across the street. But neither of them want to risk leaving the safety of where they've been hiding from the monster.
John looks out and sees Olivia's building across the street, but it seems so far away.
Unfortunately, the monster attacks nearby and damages their homes.
The house shakes violently. David looks out his window and sees Olivia fleeing her home.
Olivia has no choice but to escape outside, so John goes outside too.
John flees outside after Olivia. As John and Olivia find each other, the monster finds them. John and Olivia take each other by the hand. We're back in David's house, and Benji is nodding, digesting what David has just said.
So it's like sad, but not sad kind of thing. Like they're definitely going to die, but they're together, so it's okay. I like it.
I mean, they're not definitely going to die. It's ambiguous.
Dave, the monster is like right there, and they've got nowhere to go. I'm pretty sure they're going to die.
David considers this.
I don't know. I like their chances.
Lying on the floor now, Ellie flips over the last page of the manuscript and stares at her ceiling, deep in thought. She sits up and looks at David's house through her window, but there's no David to be seen. David ends his call with Benji. He turns back to Ellie's window and sees that she's not in view anymore. Ellie receives a text and checks her phone. Text from Mom.
Meeting time.
On David, he gets an alert on his phone. The online support group is about to start. He rises out of frame. On Ellie, she arrives on the entrance screen for the Agoraphobics Anonymous meeting and clicks to join without hesitation. On David, he clicks to join the meeting as well. The screen loads into the familiar video chat room.
All right, let's get started. Who wants to go first?
Someone raises their hand and the meeting begins. On Ellie, she sees David in the meeting and softly gasps to herself, surprised by the effect his presence suddenly has on her. On David, he sees Ellie, and the sudden rush of emotions he feels causes him to clench his jaw. The meeting continues, but David and Ellie just stare at each other on their screens and through their cameras. After a beat, Ellie's face fills with resolve, and she disappears out of frame. David's eyes narrow, suddenly determined, and does the same. With both of them gone, the view of their empty chairs are left behind in the video chat room. While listening to one of the members share, Laurie notices that David and Ellie are gone. She smiles to herself. On Ellie, she walks to her front door. On David, he walks to his front door. On Ellie, she opens her front door and takes a step outside. David opens his front door and takes a step outside. Ellie looks up and sees David. David looks up and sees Ellie. They look at each other wordlessly for a beat, and they smile. And then, still locking eyes, David and Ellie cross their thresholds and begin walking toward each other. Slowly, one step at a time, but persistently. They step off their stoops, they cross their yards, and finally, they meet in the middle of the street. David and Ellie are face to face for the very first time.
Hi.
Hi.
They both smile wider than we've ever seen. Smiles of bliss, of pride, of relief. Is this really happening? David reaches for Ellie's hand. Ellie does the same. Their hands touch. Their fingers interlock. They stand there in the street, holding hands, not looking away, each of them drunk in the sight of each other. They finally embrace as the camera cranes down and reveals a street sign for Solitary Drive. Title card, The Other Side of Solitary. Fade out, the end.
All right, bye guys.
All right. Well, that's the other side of solitary. Thanks so much for joining us through this and watching this performance. I want to thank our cast here. Thank you so much, everyone. You guys did an amazing job. And a special shout out again to Brandon Warren and Scott Tofty. Check out their band, the Warren Scott Band. You can just Google that and find their website, and you'll be able to buy their album or what have you. And hopefully you liked the songs that they wrote, and you'll be willing to buy their album. But yeah, that's it. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. And
happy birthday, Scott.
Happy birthday, Scott.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.